at the nice and early time of 5:19 a.m. here in the central United States, it was announced that 2311 Racing would have a new driver for the Indianapolis road course. They ran the number 67 back in the Daytona 500 with Travis Pastrana, the first time they ever ran a third car. Well, they're going to run it for a second time at Indianapolis with Kamui Kobayashi. He is a Japanese driver who's currently in the Endurance Racing Series. He won, actually, last year, the race that's coming up, the big race, of course, the biggest endurance race of the year. It's the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Kobayashi, he won this race last year. As I said, he's racing in it again this year. And NASCAR actually has an entry in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. And he's not a part of the NASCAR entry, but NASCAR 2311, they wanted to make this announcement in France with him in attendance. And there were a bunch of NASCAR executives there. There were a couple of Toyota executives there for this announcement. So here's what he has to say. My dream announcement today, I will be racing NASCAR Cup Series at Indianapolis Motor Speedway on August 13th, 2023. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Toyota Racing, 2311 Racing, Toyota Gazoo Racing. That's the team he races for in the Endurance Racing Series. As I said, it's a big deal to have an international star coming over to NASCAR. We've seen this trend over the past year or so when Justin Marks announced that Trackhouse would have the Project 91 car about this time last year, I think. And then in that time, we've seen Kimi Räikkönen in the car for Justin Marks and Trackhouse. We're going to see Shane Van Gisbergen in the car next month at Chicago. But we've also seen, we've seen Travis Pastrana in the 67. And now we're going to see Kamui Kobayashi in the 67 car. It said in one of the press releases or the articles, it said he's going to be the first ever Japanese driver to drive for Toyota in NASCAR. I thought that was a neat little bit. Of course, Toyota is the manufacturer he has in his endurance racing series, or it's the sponsor of his team, the Japanese manufacturer, obviously. And, that implies that I'm trying to think, has there been another Japanese driver in the Cup Series? I'm trying to think back. Someone tell me in the comments. Are they counting Kyle Larson? Larson's half Japanese, but he was born in the U.S., raised in the U.S. I don't know. I'm trying to think of who the other Japanese driver in the Cup Series would be. But really good opportunity for Kobayashi. It's a really good 2311 has been competitive this year. For those of you who don't keep up with NASCAR, but maybe a fan of Kamui Kobayashi. The 2311 cars, they have a win this year. Tyler Reddick won at a road course at the Circuit of the Americas, which is the same track that F1 runs at and MotoGP runs at. And then both cars are in the top 15 in points. I think Reddick is 10th in points. Bubba Wallace, the second car, is 15th in points. So both cars have been competitive this year. They've had top 5s, top 10s. And as I said, they have won on a similar style track as the Indianapolis road course. And also Tyler Reddick, he wasn't with 2311 Racing last year. He was in a Chevy team, RCR. He did win the race at the Indianapolis road course last year. So Reddick has won at this track. And his car, the 45 car, has won at a road course recently. So it's safe to say that Kobayashi will be in a competitive car. Will he win? I don't know. It's going to be his first ever time in a NASCAR car. We'll see how he adapts. I think he could, because the sports cars are more similar to a NASCAR Cup car than, let's say, like an F1 car would be, or an Indy car to a NASCAR car. Still a lot of big differences, obviously, but still close to a Cup car, I would believe, than an open wheel car. So we'll see how he does there. And then 2311's post, they said, NASCAR Cup debut, TGR WEC, so the Toyota Gazoo Racing World Endurance Championships. Kamui Kobayashi will make his NASCAR Cup Series debut behind the wheel of the number 67 Camry TRD at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm not sure if this is the paint scheme, the official one, but it looks like it. So here's a picture of the car that they had at the track in Le Mans, just to show off, to show what it would look like. I'm assuming this is it, but it looks like it's going to be sponsored by Toyota. There's some other pictures of him with some other people I see David Wilson there. We all remember David Wilson from last fall, talking about Kyle Busch, trying to retain Kyle Busch, but he's one of the big people at the Toyota Racing Development. He's one of their big people, like one of their executives. So, yeah, a lot of important people there. I think they said NASCAR chairman Jim France was in attendance as well. And it's a little bit ironic because, well, NASCAR's doing this whole, inviting the other manufacturers as a makeup, because when it was announced that Hendrick Motorsports and Chevrolet would get the Le Mans entry without anyone else knowing about it, Ford and Toyota were pretty upset. Those are the other two NASCAR manufacturers. They were pretty upset that NASCAR went behind their backs to make a Le Mans entry for the Garage 56 entry and decided to say, hey, we're picking Chevy and we're picking Hendrick. That made the other teams pretty mad. So NASCAR is now trying to make up for it, to make it an all NASCAR thing. So they've invited Ford executives, they've invited Toyota executives to come over, look at the car, get in the pits, get in the garage, get some fancy drinks, some fancy food, and watch the race. But yeah, that's going on right now, the practices. In fact, the NASCAR pit team won the pit crew challenge for Le Mans. So I don't know what they get for that. I saw a bunch of trophies in the pictures, but how about that? They won something. So, yeah. So there you go. There's some Le Mans information for you. The race is Sunday. I don't know what time. Saturday or Sunday. I don't know what time it starts locally, to be honest with you. It starts in the next, what's today? Wednesday. It starts sometime in the next few days. You can Google it, what time it starts in your local time. I don't know if you're in the East Coast of the U.S., West Coast, Central, or if someone from Japan is watching this. I really don't know what time the race starts for you there. But yeah, this is a big piece of news in the NASCAR world to have another international driver in the Cup Series. We've seen that trend, as I said, a lot more recently, and it seems like we could see more in the future. We'll see what happens with this 2311 third car, if they continue to do this kind of like what Project 91 does at Trackhouse. Will they continue to put different drivers from different racing series in the car? But yeah, thanks for watching this video. Another nice and early news day. It was the same thing yesterday with the Cindric Dillon thing. And once again, nice and early news here for Kamui Kobayashi and his Toyota team, and now he's going to be racing in the Cup Series. So let me know how you think he'll do in the comments, if you're excited for him, and hopefully he doesn't get dive bombed into turn one like we saw last year.